Hello YouTube. So today I want to share a quick one regarding Japanese booster box because I think recently there are quite a few more friends and also comments in the video asking about what about Japanese booster box. I mean, looking at the current price in English, I think it only makes sense that we started looking elsewhere. It's not just the price in English booster box, but also how available, how easy it is to get those products. I think Japanese, there are some good things that we should look at, and stay with me in this video and I'll share with you some of the booster box that I think you should pay attention to, and also some reason maybe you should get a little bit of exposure to it if you haven't done so. The first question is why Japanese booster box and whether they are even worth it at all, right? There are a few reasons why I think Japanese booster box is really nice, especially in the recent sentiment regarding, especially with prismatic evolution, where it is considered really tough for most people to pull SIR from, especially from ETBs, where you only have 9 pack in a normal ETB. So difficult to get them, the price is so high, and at the same time it's not guaranteed because you only have 9 packs in an ETB, and most of us know that you need about 60 to 70 packs to get an SIR in average. So that means you probably need about 7 to 8 ETB to actually pull a SIR in average. I mean, discounting the fact that you might of course get lucky and pull a god pack, demigod pack, but it will probably be in the thousands of packs until you can get that, right? On the other hand, in Japanese booster box, like for example Terastal Festival, you are actually guaranteed a SAR in every single box. Of course, we know there are more than 30 SAR in Terastal Festival, but still, if you just consider the chances of pulling, let's say if you are really looking to get an Umbreon, if you don't mind getting in Japanese, is so much easier to pull if you really want to pull it yourself, which of course also explains why the price of Umbreon EX in Japan, it's so much cheaper, the Japanese version, right, than the English version. The other reason why I think Japanese booster box is really interesting is because the supply is very stable. I mean, if you really want to get some box and some packs to open, and you don't mind collecting Japanese, you can always get them at pretty good price. The price is really well controlled because they're printed by the printing companies in Japan is independent from the Pokemon company in the US and also in Europe. So they are not exactly dependent on each other. So the supply in the English side may be really tough at the moment, but in Japan it is still not too bad. I mean, the prices has shot up since Christmas, but it is still considered pretty well controlled, and you can still get most of the boxes, the recent boxes, compared to what is happening in the English Pokemon scene. I think I left out one very important point here. Of course, good sets, which I will show later in our very trusty Excel sheet. I collected some data for you. But one of the other very important points that is not mentioned here is also the quality of the printed cards. I have seen, of course, quite a lot of English cards, and I also put Umbreon EX myself in Terastal Festival, and I can really attest to the fact that the quality and the colors and the texture in the Japanese cards just seems so much better. Of course, I have never put the Umbreon EX in Prismatic Festival, Prismatic Evolutions. If I have, maybe I can do a side-by-side comparison, but just looking at the SAR Umbreon EX in Terastal Festival, wow, the color is really good. I can really understand why there are so many people who said that the Japanese cards look so much better than the English counterparts, right? So I like my spreadsheet. So what I did was I wanted to know whether there are some sets that are forecasted to do well based on the cards that's inside the boxes, and also based on historical data. So I actually collected again the Japanese boxes, there are a lot more than in English, because in English usually it is a combination of about 2 boxes. So the number of boxes since the Sword and Shield era is about double the boxes in, of course, in the same time period in English. So I didn't go as far back as Sun and Moon and things like that, because it would take way too long. So I just stopped at Sword and Shield. This is about 5 years worth of boxes here. Here you have all the Sword and Shield boxes all the way to the latest Terastal Festival. I mean, Battle Partner is out, but I think it's so new, I do not want to include them in this. Yeah, this data is based on last week when I collected them, and I also checked, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, in Pokedata's price for these Japanese boxes is not very accurate, because I do not know why they included some of the single price in the average box price, and I even saw like a pack price, which is really skewing a lot of the box prices. So some of those that I feel is totally off, I actually counter checked with TCG Player. So some of this box price, you may see that, oh, why is it so different from what I'm seeing? So that may be the reason, right? But the really obvious one I have checked, and so most of them should be in the right ballpark. So here I want to first of all show you ranking by the box price. This is basically box price. Let me just key this in. Booster box price. Okay. Booster box price, and not surprisingly, the most expensive one at the moment is EV Hero. The blue Sky Stream is the set that combines with EV Hero that gives us our Evolving Skies in English. So these two sets are, not surprisingly, doing very well. So in 4 years time, I mean the MSRP in Japan for a Japanese booster box is actually only about $40 American dollar at the moment. So this is about 10 times, right? 10 times the price of the MSRP, close to 10 times. This is about 9 times. This is about 7 times. And VMAX Rising, Rapid Strike, Infinity Zone. This one is quite surprising, because here what this means is the top 3 card price, top 6 cards, top 10 cards, all of them combined, and you can see that Infinity Zone, there's nothing that shouts, come get me in the set, but I'm really cannot understand why the booster box price is so expensive. But the only reason I can think of is, of course, all these are out of print, right? And maybe it's one of the really short printed ones, and the price is really high, right? And this one as well, VMAX Rising, even though the card prices are not very expensive, but because this set is a specialty set, so the price is quite high as well. If you just go by the color, the yellow ones are the Sword and Shield, and the purple ones are current era, the Scarlet Violet. So in the top few, most of them are the more pricey ones are the Sword and Shield ones, because they're out of print and the price will go up. And like we know, in the same thing happens in English set. So these prices, if you look at that, anything more than $80, that means about double, right? $80 is double of MSRP in Japan. So these are like 3 times more, and of course the highest performing ones even up to 10 times, right? So you can see most of the set at the moment, the set that are still in print, the purple ones are still very close to MSRP, $40. So which is the reason why I said this. The price is really well controlled, because they really print to demand. As soon as they see that amount is not enough in booster box, they will print. So most of these are still in stock. At least I know my supplier still carries them. Some are slightly more expensive, the popular ones, but yeah, almost pretty much you can still get all of them, any of them. The other ones that I really interested to know is that, what about when we rank them by the card values, right? Because we know that how desirable a booster box is, especially within the 3 to 5 years. Let's not talk about 10, 15 years. Those are too long, and that really depends on how much more supply is in the secondary market. So, but if we just look at closer period like 5 years, usually the card price plays a big role, because that's when people really are still ripping them. At the same time, you can't find them in the Pokemon Center and not so easily in the shops as well. So it's mostly secondary market. And you can see that Terastal Festival is actually at second place. EV Hero, not surprising, is at the top, very top, and 151 with all the different Master Ball and Pokeball and all that is third place. Lost Abyss, Giratina. Shiny Treasure is basically the Paldean Fate in Japan. Super Electric Breaker, you have the Pikachu. Clay Burst is I think the set with Iono. Yeah, Iono in Japan is very expensive. It's compared to in English, it doesn't worth as much, maybe only half the price. And then we have Crimson Haze, where you will find the Green Ninja, Paradise Dragona, which is the set that combines with Electric Breaker that gives us our Surging Spark. Triple Beat is where you can find Magikarp and Stellar Miracle, our Stellar Crown, and Scarlet Violet, right? So these are the few sets that are doing quite well. There are quite a few more at the bottom but I feel these are less interesting because they probably will not do as well as compared to these sets at the top. So what I did was I checked with my supplier in Japan who I have bought with them before, and I was just checking the price. At the moment, box price in Pokédata and probably also in eBay TCG Player is about $95. I could get it at about $84, but I got it at I think about $60. Later I will show you what I have at the moment. So I got it way cheaper than this before they have the price spike in December. So I'm not gonna get them at this price, because if I do that, then I will just bring up my average cost, which I don't want to do that. Pokemon 151, the supply price is higher than what they're selling in TCG Player, so it doesn't make sense. And Clay Burst as well. I can only guess that it's actually still very desirable in Japan to get this for the Iono, but in the international market, in eBay TCG Play, it's actually cheaper than what I can get from Japan directly. Makes no sense. Paldean Fate equivalent, Shiny Treasure. So I can still get it at 46. It's higher than MSRP, but it's pretty close. Super Electric Breaker, this is above MSRP, and this price is also really just shot up after December. So actually before December, the price is still very, very close to MSRP. And Crimson Haze, oops, did I replace something? Yeah, Crimson Haze is below MSRP slightly, very close now. And Paradise Dragona slightly above MSRP. These are the price that I think at least what I can find from a supplier. And if you want to know how do you get a supply in Japan, actually it's quite interesting, because you can just find them in Instagram. There are quite a lot. If you just find Japanese TCG supplier, just search them, you can easily find 5 or 10 of them. And the one that I get from, I don't think I should tell you exactly the name, but they always post on their Instagram page that advertise that they're the biggest TCG supplier in Japan. So if you find that, you'll probably find the same the same supplier that I can find. But it is true, I think they are probably one of the biggest, and the price is quite competitive. Sometimes I do find some supplier offering slightly cheaper price than this supplier that I usually work with, but most of the time they offer the most competitive price, and their shipping is really fast. I mean, I'm in Singapore, I can usually get my purchase within like 5 days from order, or sometimes 4, and they work really, really fast. They work even on over the weekends. At the moment, actually, I find it more enjoyable collecting Japanese booster box and also opening them. Okay, here I want to show you what I got in from Japan. I mean, this I told you before, I think in my earlier video, I got them really early, so my cost was very low, about $61 before the price really spiked up really high. Now is, I think, what was it? I think 80 something dollars. Yeah, so I got it at 60, so I'm not going to buy anymore unless they drop below this price. then I can try to just average my cost to be even lower. These two, the Super Electric Breaker and Shiny Treasure, I actually got it from Pokemon Center directly in Japan when I visited for holiday. So yeah, the cost was really low because this is basically MSRP. But the bad thing about buying from Pokemon Center directly in person is that they will remove the seal for you. So these are not shrinked. Of course, I actually bought it for my own enjoyment. I didn't plan to sell them, but looking at the price, maybe I should keep them for a few, at least a few months and a few years and see what happens. If the price really goes really high, then I won't open them. I think I did open 1 or 2 boxes of this with my kids for enjoyment, but yeah, no Pikachu, not so easy. And the Pokemon 151, I got it a lot earlier. Maybe last year, did I include it? Yeah, it was in July when the price was still relatively affordable. You can't get this price anymore. But the most recent purchase I got was actually Crimson Haze. So let me just show you what are in the set. Yeah, so you'll be amazed. You can get Greninja as one of the SAR. And like I said, in Japan, every box has a guaranteed SAR, so it's probably one of these field 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 1 or 2 more somewhere. This one is this is also SAR. Any more SAR? Yeah, also of course the ultra rare is included, not just SAR plus ultra rare. It's guaranteed, so it's either a gold card or one of the SAR is in every box. But the reason why I wanted to get this box, aside from the potential in investment, is also I wanted to try to pull a Greninja because I don't have a Greninja. And in English, the Twilight Masquerade is so expensive. I really don't want to, spend that kind of money for enjoyment, my own personal enjoyment with my kids. And the Eevee is in this set as well. So I thought, this is actually quite a nice set. And my kid actually like Greninja. So just having a chance of pulling some Greninja, I think it's worth the price. And I'll show you what price I got them at. So I bought in two different supplier. So the price average is about $38, slightly below MSRP in Japan. And this includes shipping. So yeah, shipping will cost a little. What was it? I think about $20 shipping to ship to Singapore. To America, maybe it will be slightly more expensive. I'm not too sure. But it depends on the volume you ship at, and so the price will change. So inclusive of tax and everything. So it's still a pretty good price, and it's below the price that is selling in eBay and TCG Player. So I thought, why not just buy a few? And so I say a few, but actually it may be quite a lot for some of you. But if I compare to what I have in Terastal Festival, I have 33 boxes, and even just visiting Pokemon Center, I got quite a few of this. So to me, it is of course it's not a small amount, but it's also not a overbearing amount like Terastal Festival like I have. So yeah, so this was what I got recently, and I think going back to what I showed you earlier, so I'm not sure whether how accurate or how reliable this metric will be. I mean, based on the top cut prices, but I feel it should be quite reliable, because if you just look at the set prices, actually they follow pretty closely. I mean, those that are out of print, like for example those with lower cut prices, you can see that the price is relatively lower. Like all this, VMAX Rising is an exception. Yeah, but other than that, the lower cut prices, it is the lower price sets usually is, right? Even those that are out of print. So yeah, so that's why I thought it probably makes sense if we just try to find some of these that are still slightly undervalued and get them as early as we can before they go out of print. And and also for myself here, I have also took the price of the top 10 cards and divide them by the cost price that I will pay if I'm buying the box, to just give us a very quick indication of what is the expectation we can get roughly, relatively out of a box. So here you can see for Terastal Festival, because the card price is very high, and although the box price is pretty high at the moment, we have I think close to $85 per box. But if you just take this number divide by the cost price you are paying per box, you are getting 15.6. And the next highest is actually Shiny Treasure, which is box equivalent of the Paldean Fate in English. I mean, these cards prices are rising quite quickly because of what is happening on the English side as well. So the Bubble Mew and the Charizard price has been going up. So this is actually the second highest price, and because the box price in Japan is still relatively affordable, so this is actually one of another very good buy that we can look into. So Crimson Haze, as I mentioned earlier, is the box that I have bought quite a few in the last few weeks. So, and this is the reason, right? Because the card price is actually pretty good, and at the moment it's the only box that is under MSRP, or at least very close to MSRP in Japan. So this is the box that I picked up, and also a box that I really want to rip because I have not opened this box before. Shiny Treasure, I have some, and I have opened a few of them, so I'm okay with that. But from investment point of view, Shiny Treasure is probably a better box to keep if you really want to buy for keeping. I have some exposure, and so I'm not in a hurry to do this. But in the next few weeks, if the price does adjust downwards, if they get some more reprints of this, then yeah, maybe I'll get a few more of them. But yeah, so if you just look at the better performing sets in the last few months or one whole year, this is how it looks like when you take into consideration the top 10 card price relative to the cost price that you'll be paying if you're buying directly from the supplier. So that's how I normally make my decision. I hope this gives you some idea into the Pokemon market, and also like I said, you can actually quite easily find some Japanese supplier to ship it to you. I mean, from directly from Japan, and the good thing is if you buy from them, it will come sealed as compared to if you buy from Pokemon Center, which will be unsealed. They will remove the shrink wrapped. Yeah, that's the added bonus. Yeah, that's all I have for today. See you.